Hi, my name is Rachel Paxton, and today I'm here to show you how to make apple pie jam. What will you get out of this class? In this class, you will learn how to make apple pie jam. I will lead you through the process step by step. I will also give you the recipe and a canning supply list that you can download and print out for future reference. You can find those in your course materials. You will also gain the confidence you need to try more jam and jelly recipes on your own. My name is Rachel Paxton, and I'm a freelance writer and mom of 5 children ages 28 to 6. This is my husband Dave. We've been married for 20 years, and these are 3 of my children. Christian and Zachary are almost 11, and Trenton is 6. We also have a 28 and a 26-year-old daughter. I am also the owner of CreativeHomemaking.com, and I've been canning for more than 20 years. For this recipe, you will need 4 cups of apples, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, 1 1/4 teaspoon cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon ginger, a box of powdered pectin, 4 cups of sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, and a 1/4 teaspoon of butter. And you can find these listed on the recipe in your course materials. You are going to need a boiling water canner, a canning rack if you are going to use your own stock pot for boiling, a jar lifter, a wide mouth funnel, and pint or half pint canning jars. This recipe will make 3 pints of jam or 6 half pints. And again, these are listed in the supply list included with your course materials with links to Amazon if you need to order anything. This is what a boiling water canner looks like. For about $32 you can buy the entire set that includes the canner, the canning rack, the jar lifter, and the funnel that you need for canning. And it comes with a few other things too, so that's a pretty good deal if you don't already have this. This is what the canning rack looks like. It comes in your canner. But if you want to use your own stock pot for making jams and jellies, you can, but you need to put a canning rack in the bottom of the pot so that your jars don't sit directly on the bottom of the pan. These cost about $10. This is what the jar lifter looks like. And the wide mouth funnel is really nice because the regular funnel will not sit up straight by itself in the jar. These are designed for canning jars, so that you don't have to hold on to them while you're ladling stuff in your jars. First of all, you're going to need to sterilize your jars, rings, and lids in the dishwasher. Then they'll be all ready when you're ready to make the jam. You can't reuse lids when you're making jam. You can reuse the rings and the jars, but not the lids. So if you're reusing jars, you need to buy some more lids. First, you want to fill the canner about 3/4 full with water and start it heating while you're making the jam. The jam's not going to take very long, so you want the water to be hot when you're ready, and you also want your jars to be hot. First, you need to peel, core, and slice your apples into large chunks, and then dice them into small pieces, like in this picture. I've measured 4 cups of apples, and you want to add water to it, but you still don't want more than 4 cups. Make sure that the total amount is 4 cups with the water added. Next, you want to get out your pectin, lemon juice, and spices to get ready to put into the jam. This recipe calls for powdered pectin. You can buy it in several different ways. This is a jar that has a bulk quantity of pectin in it, so if you have a jar like this, you would want to use 6 tablespoons, or if you buy a small box of it, then you're going to put the whole box in. So you want to place the apples in the water and the pectin, lemon juice, and spices in the stock pot, and the amount of those things are included in the recipe with your course materials. You also want to add a 1/4 teaspoon of butter. This helps reduce foaming. Your jam often will foam a little bit when it's cooking, and this will help reduce that so you don't have to skim as much off when you're done. You want to put your mixture on medium-high heat and bring it to a boil that cannot be stirred down. And what that means is you might start it to see it boiling, but if you stir it, it instantly stops boiling. So you want it to be boiling, and then when you stir it, it keeps boiling. And while that's heating up, you want to measure your sugar ahead of time. I know this seems like a silly thing to say, but a lot of times if you measure the sugar as you go while you are making your jam, it's easy to lose count of how many cups you put in, and that can happen to anybody. So it's better if you get it measured ahead of time, and the recipe also works better if you put it all in at once. So I dumped all the sugar in there and stirred it in. Now you want to bring the mixture back to a boil again, and this will take a few minutes, and then boil it for 1 minute. Now it's ready to put in the jars. Using your funnel and your ladle, you want to fill the jars, leaving a 1/4 inch headspace. What that means is the headspace is the space in between the top of the jam and the top of the jar, and different recipes call for different amounts of headspace, and this is because depending on what is in the jar, the stuff that's in the jar will expand when it's being processed, and if there isn't enough headspace, the jar could potentially explode. And jams don't require very much headspace. When you're pressure canning, you're going to leave more headspace, but you only need to leave a 1/4 inch in this case. Next, you want to wipe the rims of the jars with a damp paper towel or dish towel. This is so your jars will get a good seal. If there's anything on the top of the jars, your lids will not seal and you won't be able to store them. Place the rings and the lids on the jars, and you want them to be tight, but not super tight, just finger tight. Now your water should be almost ready to boil on the stove if it isn't boiling already. If it's not boiling yet, you can still put your jars in there. Just don't start timing them until it starts boiling. You want to have about 1 inch of water above the jars, and when it starts boiling, you set the timer for 10 minutes. This is for elevations 0 to 1,000 feet. If you live over 1,000 feet in elevation, you're going to have to process your jars for longer because of the change in altitude. So I've included a elevation chart with your course materials. So if you need to change your processing time, check that chart. After the 10 minutes is up, use your jar lifter or tongs to remove the jars from the canner and set them on a towel on the kitchen counter to cool. The jam doesn't always set up right away, so it might be a little runny still, and that's okay. It can take up to 24 hours for it to gel completely. Don't turn the jar sideways or upside down or anything. Just let them set until they gel, or because moving them around can affect the gel of the jam. So after they're completely cool, they should have sealed by then. Often you will hear a pinging noise when they seal. If it does not seal, you can still eat it. Just put it in the refrigerator. The way you can tell if it's sealed is if you push your finger down in the middle of the lid, and it should not go down and come back up again. It should just be flat. Your sealed jars can be stored in a dark, cool area for 1 to 2 years or longer. This apple jam is really fun. I've been making it for the past couple years, and it's a big hit during the holidays. People love to get it as Christmas presents. This stuff is really, really good, and it's good on waffles and pancakes and toast and ice cream, about whatever you can think of. It's just really good. So give it a try and see what you think. It was nice being here with you today, and I hope to see you again soon.